Hey guys, I just finished watching The Flash, Season 3, Episode 15, The Wrath of Savitar. Now, this episode was quite fun, dealing with Savitar and dealing with Wally seeing Savitar and all that stuff. And I'm glad that they didn't we had last week's episode that ended with him seeing Savitar and all that stuff. And I'm glad it didn't last like a whole 2 episodes or a whole few episodes of Wally seeing it but not telling the team and all that stuff. I'm glad that it went right into it in the next episode. Which is definitely going to be interesting because we do have next week's episode, and the week after will be the crossover with Supergirl, the musical crossover. So it's going to be interesting to see how that ties into the Savitar storyline. But I feel like that's just going to be its own, filler episode, which is disappointing. But that Supergirl's not coming on to deal with something that's involved with Savitar, kind of like I forget, it was in the first season when Oliver came over to help fight, Zoom, or no, not Zoom, Reverse Flash, but he didn't also end up really doing much, but it was a cool fight with Firestorm, Green Arrow, and the Flash, the 3 of them versus Reverse Flash, and it was a really cool episode. So I wish the musical crossover was that, but it doesn't look like it's going to be. But getting back to this episode, it was kind of a fun episode, dealing with all that and seeing how everything goes, and it was really cool seeing things and stuff, but there was a lot of points where I was just like, why is this? When Wally told the Flash, told Barry that that he knows that she doesn't have the ring in the future and all that stuff. It was kind of weird that he said that right away and didn't think about it and then kind of go tell Barry in confidence, just Barry one-on-one. But then again, I kind of understand how they were doing that with the whole he's not thinking clearly because he's seeing Savitar, and he's off his game, he's not as fast as he is. And by the way, at the beginning when they first started and they saw him racing and he was fast enough to do it, and then in the end he wasn't, which was a pretty interesting concept to do that. But I was surprised that they didn't tell us how fast does Jessie go? How is she? Was she, half of Barry's speed? Is she, who's faster, Wally or Jessie? And what if they were both racing after to save Iris? Because she's not in the future either. So if Wally can't, why can't Jessie do it? How fast is she going? So it's gonna be interesting to see if we get that in next week's episode. Barry and her training, because I want to see how fast they was, because I feel like, the 3 of them are running and stuff, yet no one mentioned anything about her, and just that, that Wally was getting faster and all that stuff. So it was just no mention of her speed. I would have liked to have seen a comparison of her speed, maybe on Cisco's tablet, have all 3 of their speeds written right there or something like that, and see who's fastest or see who's where, or just something to give us an idea of how fast she is in comparison to the rest of to the 2 of them, So it was definitely cool seeing how everything was, and Savitar, the special effects on him looked great. There's a few parts at the end there when he was kind of grabbing out and stuff. That's where it looked a little fake. But other than that, he looks pretty good. It looks like they actually have a physical guy sitting there. So I don't know if it is CGI or not. But when Wally was seeing him, when he was just standing there, or at the end when Barry was just seeing him, he was just standing there, he looked really good. He looked like he was there and stuff, way more than the Gorillas did, even though they looked really good in those last few episodes. But it was definitely really cool seeing Savitar there, seeing the whole thing. I just don't see why Iris doesn't go like, yeah, I understand we're engaged and stuff, but I'm still gonna keep this ring on for that moment or something like that. I don't know, something like that. It would have been. I understand how she doesn't want to be married for the sake of because she wasn't in the future and stuff like that, just because he's scared and all that, and I get that, but I just feel like I don't understand why she doesn't want to use that and use that idea, be like, okay, I'm going to wear the ring, but I'm not going to actually marry you until we're actually ready to really get married for real this time, type thing. So I think it would be cool to see where that goes with that, but it just seemed a little off because she knows he's in love with her, she knows and all that stuff, and stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see what things continue on with here, and it could be fun to see. And I was surprised when Savitar stabbed him and stuff, now that, Cisco has, excuse me, a piece of Savitar, and it's going to be cool to see where things go with that and how things continue on from there. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially what happens in next week's episode when they go into the Speed Force to try and find Wally. Although it's kind of disappointing, though, because it looks like that's where we get the return of Captain Cold, Firestorm, Ronnie Raymond, and what's his face there from the first episode there, I forget his name, but he was in the Yeah, Rick something like that, I think is the name of the actor, but he was Iris's love interest for the first season. So it was interesting seeing Eddie Thawne. It was interesting seeing those three back in the trailers. I was kind of disappointed, especially with seeing them in the trailers for next week's episode. Although it was cool seeing them in there, I just was hoping to see Ronnie Raymond return to the show more on a permanent basis now that the actor's done, because the actor Robbie Amell only left The Flash because he was busy with that movie that he had during the first season. So other than that, he's if I'm not mistaken, I haven't seen him on anything else or seen him in trailers for anything else because I don't watch much outside of the superhero stuff. Yeah, so we just would have liked to have seen Ronnie Raymond return here as a full-time member. Maybe they could just go find another version of one from a different planet that also has a different Earth that also has Firestorm powers. Maybe there's one who has the complete Firestorm powers all by himself without another person. He can just do it by himself. There's infinite universes out there. There's some of them out there that must be pretty much the same to the one they have. They have the different wells that are pretty much the same to them. A little bit of different personality traits, but still the same. I would have liked to see Robbie Amell return full-time to The Flash, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that. It looks like it's just some sort of, the Speed Force playing tricks on him, just like when last time Barry was in there, he saw his father, his mother, and all these people throughout the Speed Force. So it's kind of disappointed with that for next week's episode, but it's going to be interesting to see where things go with that and see how things continue on from there and see how that kind of affects things and whether or not they get Wally back for the future. And does Jessie Quick, does she stay in there? Does she get left in there, and that's why she's not in the future, in the vibes and stuff like that in the future and all that stuff. So that's gonna be interesting to see where things go with this. It's gonna be fun to see where things continue and how that kind of leads into the Music Meister guest crossover, a duet, I think is the name of it, for the crossover with Supergirl. So it's gonna be fun to see where things go with that. Now maybe Music Meister could be someone who's a disciple of Savitar, but I kind of doubt that, because if you saw the trailer for next episode of Supergirl, you see that Music Meister is there. So it looks like Music Meister will start off on Supergirl, do his thing there, and then he'll probably maybe bring someone over to The Flash or something like that. We'll have to wait and see how things go with that. But it's going to be fun to see where that goes. It's going to be interesting to see how things all come together. I definitely can't wait to see if we get Wally back. Does he keep his yellow costume, or maybe he gets some more of that silver costume that he had in the New 52? I think that costume looks pretty good. So I'm definitely going to be interesting to see how things continue on from here, and see if who survives this season. I'm hoping that they don't kill off Jessie Quick or Wally, because I kind of like them on here. But at the same time, I understand how it can't be the Flash and always have these three guys here. I mean, I'd just like to see them go off, kind of like Roy Harper did on Arrow. He's not dead or anything like that. He's just gone in a different city, has to leave the city. So I think if something like that for the end of the season would be a better way to get rid of those two speedsters without actually killing them off, so that they could come back whenever they want. But they don't have to actually kill them off. I think that would be the way to do it. But we'll have to wait and see where things go from here and see how things continue on, especially with Caitlin wanting to hold the Philosopher's Stone for herself and keep it and to use it to take away her powers. It's going to be fun to see where things go with that. But hopefully she doesn't lose her powers, because like I said, like I've been saying, I want to have her kind of control them, kind of like what Bruce Banner does in the Hulk and the Avengers movies, where he kind of aims Hulk rather than controls him. He just kind of points Hulk in the right direction type thing. So that'll be cool to see where things go with her and see how things continue on from here. So let me know what you think, guys, about this in the comments below. What was your favorite part? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.